Hey, welcome back. Here today we'll talk about using simple and fast multimedia, well, the simple and fast multimedia library for whatever project we want to use it for. So anyway, if you're not familiar with cross-platform software development, here today we'll talk about, well, its uses. I usually use this for the advanced algorithms course, not because, well, not really advanced algorithm course, but advanced data structures course, because it teaches you a little some more about modern C++ development and other libraries. It also has support in other bindings beyond C++, like Python, Ruby, Net, and whatever, and Go, and anyway, so it has a lot of support there. There's a lot of good documentation that goes along with it. I think I have documentation in my other course. If you're in my course now, it runs natively. They have it as a basic project. It has a better overall presentation. At least they had a better overall presentation for people who are developing with it over the years. They have a lot of books. If you're not familiar with it, you click on the tutorials tab on their website. If it's available at sfml-dev.org. It's a free website, and they have a pretty good documentation, and also you can look at the tutorial section. I think they have books and other ways to help in development and community support and forums, and they tell you the latest version, version 3.1 or what have you. But anyway, if you don't not familiar with making video games or whatever else you're doing on your free time, eventually you'll need some kind of system for creating the windows and handling graphical assets for simulations, and so this is a good solution for that. If you're not familiar with compilers, you can head over to codeblocks.org and download a free compiler. You'll need one for this unless you're using Ubuntu or Debian Linux or Macintosh. You just use a terminal. It's pretty quick and simple setup process to install it. But anyway, for everybody else, if you get CodeBlocks installed and you click a new project, you can actually just click on it's in here already, I believe. Simple fast multimedia library. You click go, and then you can pick which version there. If you don't have the right version, you can actually use this version and change DLLs and run it, and it'll actually run it, compile it too. So I discovered that the other day when I was working on something else for a different course. You can dynamically stack, it doesn't matter. You name your projects. This is not a Raylib project, even if you're watching my Raylib courses. But this is you put it, name your project, just call it SFML, just for right now as an example. And then they'll give you all the link requirement binding materials, and they'll explore the path where it should be. You also need the Ming GW compiler to go along with that. Then they'll give you a build requirements there. Your source will be available down here inside the repository. Pretty quick and simple overall presentation for creating your applications. This is not the best compiler for, viewing purposes, but for at least for right now, is what we'll just kind of go over what's going on. Anyway, you'll have a header file for the simple fast multimedia library, and in the respect to graphics, because you'll need a window, you'll have to have use the scope resolution operators, the colon, to access the rendering of the functions, and so they're in the different scopes. So this is why I use it for the advanced data structures course, because it goes over. They do it a different way. It's not the way that most people have learned how to do programs. So you have to know object-oriented program a little bit, at least know enough about C++ to get started on creating an application. But anyway, with that being said, in respect to this piece of software here, okay, we have a loop, a game loop. It starts here, it goes to there. Right, normal stuff you've already seen. You have some kind of event. If you're familiar with Simple Direct Media Layer, there's some kind of event structure, and you have to pull that event. It will clear the screen with .clear as a respect to that app that we just made, and that app was part of the at least the window we created. But anyway, if you run it, I think it even compiles without the DLL being in the file, the repository. It will run, well, at least you have to go get the DLLs and downloadable there for it to run. But anyway, it builds without all that extra work. You have to set up the linker library settings, which is, if you're not familiar how that works, you click on the second button and you go into build options, and then you find the linker, and you have to, it already wrote the linker, so you need SFML graphics -D, but this changes based on your version. And what you really need to do is go into the project directory wherever you stored it, and from the official website, let's go back over to the official website. When we click on downloads, right, we click on downloads, you download the latest version of it based on your compiler setup. So if you're using a 64-bit system, a lot of people are using Ming GW, you have to download that. and it'll install it somewhere on your computer. You go into the folder that you just downloaded. Because I'm working on Blockbench and whatever else we're working on for today. You need to extract the files. Extract all. You need to find the DLL file, the dynamically linked library, and put it inside the project directory you just created if you want it to run. A lot of people keep once they extract it, they keep it inside their, it depends on which one they pick, because there's a lot of them. There's the simple direct media layer, there's Allegro, which we'll talk about later, Allegro game library, and Dear IMG, and there's Java Lightweight Game Library, and Pygame, and Phaser, and there's a whole bunch of them, depending on which binding language you pick. But anyway, inside your bin file, somewhere you need these DLLs, right? And then you need to kind of find your project directory for the project you just created. So one way to find this thing is to go to File and then Open. And it should open wherever the project you just dumped it. So we need to put it near either here. Not sure if it'll let me put it here. It needs to be near your executable. If I can paste it, if it'll let me paste it here. There's another hot way to paste it. You can press Control something and then Control V, or I think it'll paste. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully I put that in the right space. And then we'll try to compile this again. All right, let's see, can we compile it? If it has an arrow, it'll tell you here. If it doesn't have an arrow, it shouldn't. Hopefully I put that in the right spot. And I put it in the wrong spot. I think I put it in the wrong spot. So let's try this party again. I'll go back to the options. If we open this project again, I'll press Control Z to undo what I just did, hopefully. Wait a minute, I'm gonna move this. I'm just gonna move it in. I'm gonna grab the files that I just made, and then I'm gonna drag them into the source folder. BN, is that the right spot? Yeah. Let's see, did it move it? And let's try to compile it again. I need to close this application and compile it again. Yeah, I'm doing something wrong. But anyway, it's something like that. But anyway, if you have to set up your project, you have to put it near in the source folder with the executable when you compile it. I'm linking it to SDL2. It's not SDL2, but Simple Fast Multimedia Library 2 to SDL3. So we need to kind of fix that too. But anyway, all right. So anyway, a lot of times you have to find the search directories too. Another way to do that, if you click on Linker Directories, libraries, you have to kind of explore the search directory. Use the lib file and the search directory, so you have to explore wherever you put it, and so that's another stage which we may get into later. But anyway, another thing that you can cover if you're making projects, you can go to itch.io. I have my own page where I add stuff because I work on about 15 or 16 other things at once sometimes. You can go to itch.io. You can find project resources. So if you're making a game project, if you need some 3D assets or two-dimensional assets for your projects, there's available here, and also a host of independent games that people have created. You can even look for game jams using the Simple Fast Multimedia Library, SFML. And there's games and projects that people have worked on, like you've seen Tetris and other games that people have made for you to use. Some people make them run inside their browsers. It's a pretty good community of people who can help you solve your problems. Anyway, that's just a quick overview of what you can do. Well, not really what you can do with it, the setup process sort of. I kind of murdered that. But I'll come back to it later, and we'll try to look on it to make something a little bit more. Just if you need to know about anything, any questions about how to run it or use it, I know I have a course on this, but I just kind of I play around with it to learn how to do things, just to show it off, because a lot of people aren't using code blocks. They're using the Visual Studio Code. They're using MingGW. This is what we're using now, the MingGW version of code blocks. But a lot of people using the terminal links. If you're installing the terminal version, same thing here. You'll have to set up G++, your name of your file, but I usually type -o you give you an output file. You'll have to have all of the linker arguments here, like this in this example here. You have to have all the linker arguments here. The app, you're making the application, you need to put the path, the graphics, the window, and the system, and there's a few others. And then you dot whatever you named your application. This is the name of the application here. Whatever they named it, .o is the name of it. Then you press :/, and that will give you, there's no need for you to have a compile. But anyway, it would normally work in a normal demonstration, but I'm just doing this on the fly because we're live in class now. But anyway, I'll see you later, and we'll talk about some other project thing, and we'll talk about some other. If you have any questions about what's going to happen or what's happening next, leave a comment down there below, and then I'll talk to you more about whatever else we're doing.